All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? I am Is There No One Else? We are going to read over the update and meeting notes for January 30th for the class rep notes. I saw one change in here that I thought was definitely worth a video all in and of itself. We'll see if there's anything else that's on here that's worth discussing. Obviously, a lot of stuff is subject to change tomorrow. Patch notes are coming out tomorrow. I will have a video on that as well, so stay tuned. But with that being said, let's dive into, what this says. So, good evening, everyone. A few days ago, we held one of our regular calls with the class reps to discuss PTS feedback, with the focus being the racial passives, itemization, and the 2 new Wrathstone dungeons. Joy Division was kind enough to take notes during the call, which you'll find below. On the whole, the meeting was productive. There were numerous SOS devs participating at the meeting, which is a good development, as it not only allowed for us to get more insight into where they were coming from, but more direct feedback from those devs in the systems in which they are responsible, such as gear. Once again, these rep notes are amazing. Like, just having the explanation for why you're doing what you're doing is really nice. We are under NDA, and quite a few topics strayed into this area. Also, devs made reference to the elsewhere update, yada, yada, yada. Racials. As expected, we spent a good chunk of time here. I'll go into more detail below, but the gist of the feedback from the devs made us think they have taken our and the community's feedback to heart and are legitimately trying to make this as smooth as possible. Speaking for myself, I was impressed and pleasantly surprised the path ZOS is going here to try and improve the races is to do that, improve what's on the PTS. It's a nice change of pace not to see things get hit with nerfs as an attempt to address issues. Okay, some details. I can't get into specifics as ZOS is still tweaking some stuff and there's a non-disclosure agreement, but I can relay what their goals are and how they will try to go about them. Something to consider that is potentially huge. ZOS is looking to make flat bonuses interact consistently with CP, so your character stat values that you see on the PTS now will likely be higher than on the PTS next week. This means the changes are going to be more significant than what's just listed below. Interesting. That's interesting. That's going to be a whole nother rabbit hole that I'll have to discuss some other time. We're going to go through the notes first. Argonians, more healing done, and higher resource return on potions. Okay. Bretons overall ZOS liked where they were, though are looking to make some positive adjustment conditionals to the resistance passive. Interesting. See, I think Bretons are pretty strong. That'll be interesting to see what happens. I'll have to wait for my thoughts on the classes before or after the next patch notes. Dunmer, more damage is the goal. Changes were too far from their original mechanics. We'll gain more stamina and magicka stats to boost damage, though we'll have health reduced. Okay. So, sorry, sneak preview. Dunmer, in my opinion, I liked the original class changes quite a bit. I thought they were all good. I thought each class had its own little style or its own little panache. I'm going to bust out the panache here. All of them had that except for Dark Elf. Dark Elf, for the longest time, has been the Magicka Dragon Knight, Magicka DD. If you want fire damage, you go Dark Elf. That's what it's been. And they gave it a bunch of damage. And now it's like the ultimate high damage hybrid class. You can go Stam or you can go Magicka, and it's great. But in PvE, where Dark Elf really shines in a lot of classes, it's just behind a lot of other classes. And that's fine, but its class racials or its racial passives weren't nearly as cool and unique as all the other ones. Bretons had all this reduced cost. Argonians had the potion passive. Wood Elves have the dodge roll passive. Imperials have this block bash passive. Orcs have a little bit of everything. Khajiits have a little bit of everything. Dunmer is just kind of So good to see that they're getting a little something. In general, I don't think people really care too much about the damage. They just want its thing, They want their class to have a defining thing, what Nord has. So, sorry. what is a video of mine without a tangent? But anyways, Altmer. Goal was for Bretons to be sustain-oriented and spell recharges make high off both damage and sustain. ZOS wants us to still be a damage race and will look to reform spell charge to provide something other than main stat return. Interesting. Okay. Imperial, Zos is looking to make Red Diamond do more than just be a percent proc for health. They understand the race in general needed a boost. Imperials of the PTS were too restrictive for tank builds. They are versatile race, and the new passive will reflect that. Interesting. Excited to see what the new passive is. Khajiit, Zos generally liked what this race was offering, though indicated that some small boosts in the stats would be ideal. Stealth passive to be adjusted so they can't literally walk under a guard's nose without being seen. Yeah, there's a couple screenshots of that. Like, literally you can stand underneath somebody on a Khajiit and they can't see you. Very, very sneaky kitties. Orc. Zos wants us to be more damage-oriented brawler race rather than a sustain option. That's where red guards are supposed to shine. So we'll likely see a boost in stamina with less overall health, and unflinching rage will restore health rather than stamina on doing damage. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to try and leave more speculation out, but Orc was in a really good spot for PvE, and they were one of my favorite choices for PvP. It's going to be interesting to see what they tweak with this, because, yeah, like the health passives are always kind of because they get cut in half in Cyrodiil. So it'll be interesting to see what this actually is. Red Guard, Zos generally satisfies how this race functions mechanically and would like to add some identity to aid them in combat. They'll be getting a utility boost. Interesting. Bosmer, Zos heard concerns about the stackable, powerful movement speed. Yes. Bosmers will get a speed boost off dodge. It just won't be as high. We already talked about that, like that 20% was too high. Bosmers will get some short damage bonus as compensation. Okay. Note, Rep specifically asked about the community's concern that Bosmers are trading stealth for different buffs. We were told that Zos saw these concerns and would work on creating more option systems for stealth gameplay outside of race. With these additions, stealth gameplay will open up to more players and also allow Bosmers to have the nice combat buff while still having avenues to be as stealthy as before. Okay, so the dodge roll passive automatically made Wood Elf like the best solo class in the game. 20% movement speed that stacks with a bow. It's just, it's ridiculous. And on top of that, you get, you know, a nice flat 2k stam, which is as good as any other race. And then you got all that recovery, which essentially can be damage. You know, recovery equals damage, damage equals recovery. It doesn't really matter what it is. Bosmer's nice. So they needed to nerf that. I think 10% makes a lot of sense. You know, give them a little bit of speed, but don't give them... Don't give him 45% movement speed off a dodge roll. Yeah. Nord, there's quite a bit of discussion about this race. Zos understands there are concerns that Nords will become the default too good tank race because of the passive. Yeah. However, before just nerfing or changing it, they like to see some actual gameplay to see if the concerns come about. Alcast specifically mentioned that there are times a raid wants to hold Warhorn for a critical moment, which means sometimes ultimate counters goes up to 300, which will make the Nord passive useless. We talked about heals potentially also changing to Nords to get that passive, and we didn't see that as a problem, as the whole point of the racial changes was to diversify things and make for interesting choices. Besides, a Nord healer is giving up a ton of sustain, so give and take. The reps actually agreed that actual gameplay was preferable to speculation. Zos has their eyes on this race, though. All right. In general, the reps felt the devs were responding to a lot of feedback that has been given, are trying to make this as smooth as possible, and we're pleased to see the positive adjustments that were the main tool rather than nerfs. Excellent. Item sets. We got into a good discussion about proc sets, specifically those proc sets that at least players have to work for bonuses, such as Spell Strategists, which we think are positive additions to the game, and nightmare ones like Slodes that give players powerful bonuses basically for free. Zos has indicated they appreciate the difference, and from what they said, elsewhere is looking like it might offer players some solid fun options without resorting to dubious overperforming sets. Don't tempt us with this, guys. Like, you're under an NDA. Don't give us hope. You know, like let all of us pessimists just believe that there's going to be 5 new Slode sets out there and go with it. No, this is good. You know, in general, sets should accent a build. Sets shouldn't be a build, in my opinion. And I'd be willing. This is the hill I'm willing to die on. You don't make a set that does damage for you off a light attack. You don't make a set that does damage for you when you hit with a direct damage attack. That's all bullshit. You know, if you want to have a proc chance to do X amount more damage, you know, like Ravager, if you want a set to provide weapon damage while hitting from behind, if you want sets to provide more damage by doing physical abilities, that all makes sense, because then you have to specialize a build, and then you still have to use skills. Uh, sets like Kalurians and um, sets like Kalurians in general and Slodes are just cheesy, shitty sets. They're too easy to use, and it's just, I don't know, it takes away from what the game can actually be, in my opinion. So some specific sets we talked about. Icy Conqueror. Sauce has noted some tooltips were potentially too high and will adjust the set such that it does the same DPS with lower damage happening with shorter cooldowns. Okay. Warband will proc on direct damage rather than basic attacks so players can get more specific performance. Sauce understands that min-max group players won't need the set, but wants these bonuses available for bow builds and people not in such organized gameplay. We felt this was fine. Okay, that's a cool idea. I might have to break out my bow build again. Curse Eater. Zoss heard a lot of feedback on this. They still want the set to provide the same basic function, but will make it such that the set will only proc on direct healing and have a longer cooldown, though with more potent effects. Okay. Alright, so Curse Eater is like the new thing for everybody to get upset about for good reason. That was the one that when you get healed, like every 5 seconds, you remove 2 negative effects, which is very powerful. Very, very powerful. And a lot of people countered and they try to say, hey, you know, oftentimes when you're fighting 4 or 5 people, you're getting hit by 8 effects. 2 effects is nothing compared to what you're getting hit by. And it's like, yeah, but the most powerful Purify, like, I mean, it's universally regarded, I'm pretty sure, that Purify is one of the strongest skills in the game. You know, as far as what it does, Purify is amazing. And the best Purify that the Templar has removes 5 effects. And they have to use Magicka to do it. So, I mean, removing 2 for free, it's essentially like, okay, well, it's a free purge for you. Like, that's how ridiculous this set is. It's a free purge. And purge is an expensive skill. I mean, obviously purge goes to everybody, but a self-purge for free that you can back bar is kind of ridiculous. So we'll have to see what they do with this. Other gear stuff, NDA later update stuff here. Zoss knows that Fury 7th Legion are overshadowing just about every stamina PvP option. Uh-oh. They know fighting Earthgore is frustrating to a lot of players. Uh-oh. They mentioned other sets that players bring up as pain points. This is not for this update, so it won't be on the next week's PTS, but it was good to hear from Zoss's own mouse that existing gear needs to be looked at. This is not for this update. So does this mean that these sets aren't getting changed until the Elsewhere DLC? Or until the following week PTS. I guess I'd want to know more, but it's good to see that they're looking at these things because, yes, Fury 7th Legion are very powerful. And at the end of the day, if everybody's wearing the same sets, the same armor sets, there's a reason for it. And it's because they're a lot stronger than everything else. So, yeah. Classes. This is not a focus for this update, so there's once again going to be a lot of NDA and Update 22 stuff here. That being said, although this PTS is not likely going to address some of the pain points the community has, the combat team is absolutely investigating ongoing class concerns for Update 22. One thing that came up in our meeting that is useful for everyone to keep in mind is that Zoss indicated it would be really helpful to describe why something is a problem or an issue rather than just saying buff X or we need Y. It really helped with their prioritization to have concrete explanations of what's wrong rather than a list of 100 things people want buffed. Makes sense. A lot of what we reps said was answered by, yep, we know, we're working on it for Update 22. Several reps indicated they're sending detailed lists to ensure these pain points and new ones get even more attention, including DK-specific write-up from Quantum. Interesting. All right. PvP stuff, stuck in combat. Unfortunately, while Zoss's engineer is working on this issue, it's there and it's going to be there until they get a handle on the issue. This prompted frustration and contention. Zoss made it clear they do not want to implement band-aid fixes and that the in-combat state was a core feature necessary for numerous combat systems. They indicated that they suffer the same bug and are also frustrated with it. Okay? After some pressing, it became clear that getting passionate over the issue is not going to alleviate the situation. Getting passionate. That's a nice way to say that there were people very upset. fix the bug or prompt useful discussion. That being said, there are some things ZOS indicated they are agreeable with to make it such that this super frustrating bug isn't so destructive. One thing they specifically mentioned was they saw no reason why being in combat ought to prevent the use of transitus way shrines. Another possibility that perhaps can be explored is at least being able to change quick slots. I know this is not what anyone was looking for, but it is what it is, and if you're going to play Cyrodiil next update, then I highly suggest you channel your frustrations into useful suggestions that can make PvP playable while being stuck in combat, as ZOS indicated. That is something that they can do. Alright, so no new changes for stuck in combat yet. That's too bad. You know, sometimes, I mean, everybody has it, like, all of a sudden you're just stuck in combat. There's enough lag outs as it is. Like, you don't really want to have to sign out and sign back in. They don't know what it is. They can't fix it yet. But these two are... Being able to use a way shrine is nice. Like, that's very useful. Being able to quick slot something is also nice. It sucks when, you know, you're fighting outside of a keep, and there's, like, 30 people showing up, and you have to hotkey oils, and you can't because you're in combat, or you were in combat 3 minutes ago. And 3 minutes is a long time. That basically makes it keep going from unbursted to bursted. So, huge pain in the ass. So, those are nice little changes, but eventually this needs to be addressed. Rapid maneuvers, the discussion around this skill mostly centered around the issue of movement speed and snares. This is one of those future update things, so can't be specific. Okay, so it's coming. Movement speed is coming. The reps indicated that while they agree the old rapid skill was poorly designed and needed an overhaul, what's on the PTS is impractical, as the instances where retreat is necessary, healing and buffs will cause the skill to fall off and thus waste somebody's 8100 stamina. They've heard the frustrations over movement loud and clear. Alright. PvP annoyances that ZOS agreed were indeed annoying, we're looking to address. Time stop, see below. This is why we're making this video. Earthgore, next update. Sad face. Snipe, excellent. Scattershot stun, excellent. And Oblivion damage, it's too good. Alright, Battlegrounds and Cyrodiil have non-class related pain points, and the reps will relay to ZOS following the meeting. Alright, miscellaneous mechanics. ZOS is raising the cost of time stop to 8100 magicka, and it indicated they are willing to make further adjustments if necessary. This is a huge change, guys. Like, because I think currently the skill's like 2K, 2100, something like that. Some people are really going to bitch about this, and I understand, because I'm sorry, but you use it and you abuse it and you love it. I totally get it. I totally get it. It's a powerful skill. You don't want your powerful skill taken away from you. All you guys running your ridiculous Frost Snare time stop builds are going to be really pissed off about this. And I totally get it, you know. But at the same time, you know, this type of skill is so powerful with what it does. In my opinion, this is like... I would have preferred to see them reduce some of the effects that time stop does, because it provides an AoE snare, it provides an AoE stun, and it reduces healing in the area. And it was cheap to cast, obviously. So they increased the cost so that if you want to use all those things and make the skill still very powerful, it's going to cost this amount. I would have preferred, like, if they got rid of the snare, to be honest. If they got rid of the snare, if they allowed you to break the stun. Like, those two things are what I would have preferred, so that if people want to spam time stop, that's fine. But yeah, so what this is going to happen, guys, and you know, for those of you guys that are watching this that are just, you know, balling your fists in rage about this, it's providing skill to the skill. You know, you can't spam time stop anymore. Just like you know, 2 years ago when everybody's spamming purge because it was dirt cheap, you have to efficiently use time stop now. Like, if you're in a 5-man group, you're going to coordinate your time stop accordingly. You're not just going to have a guy spamming it on a breach, or when you're pushing into an area, they're not going to be able to spam it like they used to. So I think this is a good change. I think it still keeps its effectiveness. I think it's just now, like, you have to really decide, do I want to use this skill? So I don't think it's really going to stop it a whole lot. I think we're going to see a lot of time stop still. I think it's just going to be used more effectively. So, and it's going to stop bad players from abusing this mechanic where you have an unblockable, undodgeable stun that you cannot CC break. And then you get reduced healing, and then you allow your group to bog down a smaller amount of people. So I like it. Snipe. ZOS's engineers actively looking into the desyncs and bugs with the skill. They also indicated there's been a lot of feedback about the skill and will re-examine it next update. That's too bad. Arena weapons, reevaluating these are on the radar. ZOS knows they need adjustment. Wow, this little thing just flew under the radar because they didn't bold it. But this is a huge thing to discuss. So arena weapons, Maelstrom Arena, Dragonstar Arena, Black Rose, you know, those arenas. Obviously, when they made weapons, two-handed weapons worth 2 set pieces, it kind of eliminated the need to have Master's weapons or Maelstrom weapons. And so buffing these to coincide with these other 5-piece sets makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And I'm going to save my snipe discussion for a different video. I don't want to talk too much about that. I could go on for 10, 15 minutes about how ridiculous snipe is, but we'll save that for another time. Shade. Unfortunately, like in combat, ZOS engineers are still trying to get to the bottom of this bug. Rip Shade. Rip bouncing around keeps from different levels. That's all right. Used to it by now. One-hand enchants. We did not spend as much time on this as we'd like to. We're running short on time. It's a big impact on tanking and dual-wield DPS. Okay. That being said, we've had long discussions about this on our Discord, and it's safe to say the implications of these changes have been communicated to ZOS. In general, I think this is something to be emphasized. Just because a particular issue, pain point, or mechanic is not on the summary of our meeting, that does not mean it was forgotten or hasn't been brought to the devs' attention. In fact, without question, we've had more communication with the devs in our Discord about PTS, pain points, bugs, question changes, and community concerns than what we went over in a 120-minute meeting. Plus, there's NDA stuff and mechanics ZOS has indicated they're doing in another update. All right. So I thought that the change to the dual wield enchants made a lot of sense. You know, you want to provide, like, you know, one-handed weapons get half the penetration of a two-handed weapon, or, you know, the half the value. So it made sense that the enchants got half the value. You know, when you see people talking about how people, this is one of those things where it's nice to see. It's nice to see that they're willing to address this. And although this is a really nice change, like enchants in PvP on specific builds, werewolf builds, you know, were very powerful. And so it needed to be addressed. And it makes sense from like a core, the game value, that them being half value is what it should be. That makes a lot of sense. But that hurts PvE. And so it's nice seeing that they're addressing those PvE concerns. So great help to PvP on this. Not so good for PvE, but they're looking to improve it further, which is excellent. Dungeons, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay. Anyways, great changes. I really liked this. That's why I wanted to read through this with you guys for the first time. Time stop change is worth reading through all this, in my opinion. Earthgore, not till next patch. Snipe till not till next patch. We're going to get some more changes tomorrow, which I will read those patch notes tomorrow when they come out. I will come out with another video after that, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, discussing my thoughts on the class, the racial passives, you know, what I think. So for those of you guys that are a little nervous right now, or some of you that are really considering deleting classes so you don't have to pay money for new ones and get a head start on it, I will do that for you guys. So I'm thinking, like I said, I'm thinking like Wednesday, and that'll be it. So what do you guys think? Obviously, like, I'll let you know what I think. I want to hear your thoughts. Please comment in the section below. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.